Hi, I'm Mark Timmerman. I'm with the Corpus Christi Family Martial Arts Academy, and today we're going to be going over about self-defense at your vehicle. And mainly with any type of self-defense situation, awareness just plays the biggest part of it. If you are aware of your surroundings and use a common sense, that's usually going to get you through about anything when it comes to self-defense. There are the surprise attacks, things like that you're unable to account for. But with a vehicle situation, usually that's in a parking lot or driveway, parking garage, that type of thing, where you could be in an isolated environment. And so this is something that you really want to pay attention to, because there may not be someone out there to be able to help you. So again, common sense plays a big part, and surroundings. If you detect some danger, of course, walk with somebody else or circle your vehicle a couple times from a distance and make sure it's safe before you go up to it. Fighting in your vehicle is basically going to be the type of fighting that you do in close combat situations with joint locks, wrist twist, any type of gouges, back fists, elbows, knees, that type of fighting. You might even have to bite, So honestly, those are the types of techniques you're going to be using when you're in a confined area. If you're inside your vehicle, you definitely would, sometimes that's the best place for you to be during an attack, because the vehicle can provide you some protection. If it was like a multiple attack scenario where you had several different people, you definitely wouldn't want to get out of the car and try and fight all of them. So sometimes your vehicle is your best protection, and if you're able to lock yourself inside and keep the windows up and then work on trying to find a way to drive away, that would be your best scenario. Something else to consider, and that's just the opposite. If you suspect that this is some type of kidnapping, or if someone's trying to kidnap you, don't get in that vehicle at all costs. If they can transport you to another location, it's not going to get any better. So you're best to fight with everything at all costs right where you are in familiar surroundings, instead of letting them take you someplace more isolated where they can do what they want with you. So definitely, if you have a multiple attack scenario, stay in your vehicle if you can and use the vehicle for protection. If you're being kidnapped, try to stay outside of the vehicle. If they get you in the vehicle, then you're in serious trouble if they're able to transport you. Okay, we have a scenario where I am standing at the vehicle trying to get in, or I've just got out of my vehicle. The thing is now I discover that someone is standing here next to me, and I don't really, at this point, don't really want that person just to surprise me in that way. But I've got to try and get away from them. The best thing to do in this situation is, of course, if I had more distance, then I would try and get in the car and protect myself from inside the vehicle. But if not, if I don't have time to get into the vehicle, then I need to try and get around the vehicle and try and put the vehicle between me and him. And at this point, of course, if I thought that I was in immediate danger in that way, I would start making noise any way that I could to let other people know that I might need some assistance. Now, as I'm moving away, if this person starts coming at me, I might want to open the door and block their path and allow me to get around the vehicle. All right, and try to block him any way I can. So this way I can stand here and still continue to make noise and get away from him. Let's say that I happen to be getting in my car. I already have the car door open. At this point, depending on my distance, if I think I can get in the vehicle and shut the door and lock it, then of course that'd be my situation. But I don't want to have my back to him. So instead of trying to dive in here, if I don't think I have enough time, I definitely want to stay standing on my feet, turn around and face them. If I happen to have any type of weapon in my vehicle, I do recommend that everyone have something in their vehicle, even if it's just a tire iron, something, lug wrench, anything that you have that you could hit this person with other than just with your hands. If you have a side pocket like this on your vehicle, most you do, having a knife in there or something like that is useful. You might want to have something like this that has a window breaker on it, so if you have to get out of your vehicle for any reason, you have the ability to break your own window. Or if for some reason you are tangled up in your seat belt this would allow you to be able to cut through that seatbelt and get out. So this will help you could help you in different situations. But if I have a knife right here or something on beside the seat in the pocket, that's going to that possibly could come in useful in this type of a situation. The other thing that, just on a side note, a lot of people, law enforcement and other people with occupations that are quite dangerous, sometimes they will, if you have a vehicle, this vehicle happens to have one of the sensors, so just having it in your pocket, you don't have to worry so much about having your keys out. But older vehicles, you might need a key. If you need a key like that, a lot of people will tape a spare key up underneath the column. So this way, if you have to make a quick getaway, and maybe if you've dropped your keys outside, at least you can lock yourself in the vehicle and have an extra key to be able to get the vehicle running so you can get out. In this type of situation, I might be leaning inside my vehicle, and when somebody comes up behind me, they start trying to push me into the vehicle. Maybe they're trying to push me down to where they can get, into my back pocket, grab my wallet or whatever. Or it's a kidnapping situation where I have this force that's pushing me into my vehicle. Again, this could be a very isolated spot where someone can't, know that you're being attacked and can't come get you. So at this point, this is not a situation where I would be able to fight very easy if I'm being pinned down and pushed forward. So in this type of situation, again, I'm going to turn my body, but the thing is I got to get out of this where my legs are pinned against the seat. So in this situation, I want to try to first of all, grab anything I can. I don't care if it's a pin or anything. I need to get something to try and start striking back, attempting to cause some pain on this person. If I can lean and kick back in this situation to get some space, what I'm going to do in this situation is go ahead and get my knee up if I can here. This allows me to turn my body and then start kicking in this fashion, trying to get them turned away, and so I can keep stomping until I can fight my way outside of the vehicle. Let's just say I happen to be sitting in my vehicle, I'll be sitting here, the door's open, I see someone approaching. Of course, if I can, just shut the door and get the window up, lock the doors and try and drive away. If I cannot get the door closed in time, at this point I'm still able to get up onto my feet and defend myself and maybe look for a weapon to try to do this. But I definitely do not want to be strapped into my vehicle when being attacked. So if I can't get away with the protection of the vehicle, I need to get on my feet as fast as I can to defend myself. Okay, of course, if you're already inside your vehicle and you see danger approaching you, at this point I would want to, if I wasn't immediately able to drive off yet, and I feel like I might have to defend myself in place, of course I'd want to get the window up, I'd lock the doors. And in this situation here, I have a seatbelt on, so I need to be able to get this seatbelt off because I want to turn and protect myself, but I don't want to be fighting this seatbelt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide my hand up underneath this strap to start off with. And this way, then I'm going to let it go. This way I can get this thing away from and allow me to be able to reach. If I try to take it off the other way, I could get my arm and all that confusion caught up in here and then be fighting my own seatbelt. If I was to try to leave my vehicle for any reason or climb to the other side of the vehicle, this thing still might be fighting me. So again, to be able to get this thing off of me quicker, I want to get used to sliding my hand up underneath there and then hitting the latch so I can make sure the seatbelt stays off of me. In this situation here, again, we just got done talking about a seatbelt. And if you have a seatbelt on, again, if someone is approaching you and you think you're going to have a problem, try to unhook your seatbelt and be able to lean away from your attacker. Try to get your body to turn, all right? This way, try to get this knee up a little bit. This way, if this door comes open, if the window breaks or whatever, I can lean back and get away from this. But again, I'm no longer constrained by this seatbelt and I can turn my hips so I can defend myself better. And the most common types of attacks in this way could be just verbal. If he was just yelling at me or so on, but if he comes over and grabs a hold of my arm, in this situation, I would just try to do more of a wrist release or whatever, try and push him away and get away in this. But I mean, it may happen so fast. I might not have much of a chance. But again, just trying to move my hand. It doesn't matter if he grabbed either arm. If you do just more of a circular motion one way or the other, you're going to be all right being able to usually get that arm somewhat off of you. But of course they could have the other hand coming in, but the main thing is to get away in that situation. Now let's say that he gets in deeper in the vehicle and he grabs a hold of my shirt. Okay, this is where you're going to have to do a little bit, trying to just twist his arm, pull his arm off. That doesn't usually work because they're moving forward. So in this type of situation, instead of trying to push them away so much, pulling them in towards the vehicle, we might give you a little bit more leverage to be able to hook their body or turn your bodies to start pushing them away. All right? So that is just any type of shirt grab escape usually would work on this, because now I can turn my body and try to get their arm away. Now, if it was something different like a hair grab, again, same thing. I would try to pull them into the vehicle and then be able to start doing something. By having this door here, it allows me to try to pull them against it. If I'm able to get their arm somehow braced up against the vehicle or so on, if I'm able to get this door open and start pulling them through it, this might be a possibility. All right. Now, if I'm not able to get that door open, you know, if they're pressed against it, they might not be possible. If they were reaching in, trying to grab a hold of the throat, again, same thing. I may be pinned against this vehicle, but if I can get my hips to turn and twist that arm, then I'm going to be much better off slamming into the elbow, slamming into the face, and then of course getting it. Okay? Just again, one more thing to say about this general situation, someone reaching in. Always remember that you probably, or you should have some type of a weapon or something that you can use to help try to get them away from you. So again, anything like a pin, a knife, anything you can use at this point would be very useful. In this scenario, I'm going to have someone coming in and trying to punch me in the face. All right, of course, whenever, I mean, if you don't have time to get all set, first of all, don't just sit here and have your hands on the wheel. Make sure you get your hands up and start protecting yourself first. Obviously, I'm going to have to worry about covering up myself at this point. If he comes in for some type of a punch, I need to get my hand up over my head and cover myself in my head and all this until I'm able to keep this punch from getting in on me. So if he were to come in with multiple punches, I would be in here trying to protect myself. Now, at any point that I can get my body back enough again to try to get this seat belt off of me so I can turn my body, the better off. Of course, if his arm gets inside to where I can grab a hold of him, of course, start using those types of techniques. But right now, if I'm able to then force this fight outside of the vehicle, then I would be better off. If I can't drive away, I can't get away from him, I'm going to try to get back out to a standing position instead of this person continuing to pummel me while I'm sitting in a chair. All right, if for some reason that this person comes in to the vehicle, he's punching me, driving me back, and he gets a hold of the door and he starts opening, I may have to bail out and try to get over into my back seat and kick him until I get over into the passenger seat and hopefully work on that door to get out. All right, but if you can, fight your way outside of the vehicle, but in this case, I might fight myself all the way over into the passenger seat and then work on that door to get out that way. But when somebody's coming in your vehicle, the last thing you want to be is pinned in here underneath the wheel of the vehicle with no way of getting out. In this type of situation, there might be someone with a knife or a weapon, and so I'm going to put on my seatbelt here. If for some reason that you detect a knife, you see a knife is coming at you, you don't really want to do anything too fancy. You just want to block it off to one side or the other just for a moment. Now, of course, most people don't just hold their arm out there for you to hang on to. Usually they'd be slashing and jabbing, so he pulls back again. Again, I'm not going to have, I just need to make sure that this thing is not getting me in places where it's going to kill me. So the main thing is just trying to get the knife away from me. I most likely would take quite a bit of cuts to my arms and so on, but right now I'm just going to try to get this seat belt off of me again if I can and get away. Now at this point, there is no, of course, if I could get a hold of his arm and secure the weapon like you would in almost any type of knife defense, is make sure that you can secure the arm. But if I don't have a way of grabbing a hold of it, I need to get away from it. Okay, if I can't secure it, I need to move away. So in this situation, the first thing I'm going to do is get my knee up, all right, and get it up here, because I want to start using my longer weapons to push him away. Also, if I can turn my hips in this way, I can start going this way. If he gets that door open here, I can start kicking at him, and I'm not going to try to come out and face him. All right, he's got too much leverage on me with forward pressure. I'm just not going to make it out of this vehicle. I need to retreat. If I can't get a hold of him, I need to retreat. I'm going to go into that passenger vehicle. I'm going to keep my feet up as long as I can. Hopefully my shoes will provide me some extra protection for my feet while I'm trying to move back and keep him kicked away. Of course, at that point, once I get into the passenger seat, I'm going to try to get out that direction. But in this type of situation with a deadly weapon, your choices are to secure the weapon or to get away. And in this case, I don't think I get a hold of the weapon, so I'm going to try and move away. All right, so again, it may be difficult to do, and you might want to kind of practice this in your car a couple times, but this would be your best bet is to try to move away from the weapon, kicking with your feet. Okay, now imagine a scenario where you might have a passenger that's trying to attack you, or you're the passenger and having the driver attack you. If you're in the front seat, again, the same weapons apply in that short combat. You use your back fist, any type of strikes, hammer fist, anything you can. Of course, elbows. If you have a weapon, a pin, a weapon, even if you had a car key, let's say the vehicle's not moving, you've got car keys in your hand, using them as a weapon. And again, just like we said, if someone is reaching up and grabbing you, pulling them in towards you and doing locks. In a moment, I'll have Kai come over here and jump in this in the seat, and we'll do a little bit more of that. This again, we're back with the situation where I have a very unfriendly driver that has decided to attack me. And so he starts coming at me with any type of a strike. I'm going to of course, try to start defending myself. If you ever see someone take off their seatbelt and you're in the middle of an argument, that's a really good indication they're going to start moving their body towards you. But in this case, he still has a seatbelt on. I didn't see it coming, but it's come up here. Again, I want to try to get the seatbelt off of me so I can turn my body and start protecting myself, having my arms up. Try to get my knees up. Again, if you could find any type of a weapon, that would be useful at this point. However, again, if he's bringing that around, he's striking me, if I'm able to get a hold of him and pull him towards me, then this way I can start using my other weapons and trying to get a hold of him in some way. Of course, if he's driving the vehicle and we're still moving, that's probably not, it's going to be a little strange environment because you're trying to defend yourself and he's trying to drive the vehicle. So you're going to have to try not get you both into a really bad accident. But in this case, you need to first protect your body. So in this case, I'm going to protect myself the best I can. Again, with these arm locks and so on, that I can. If nothing else, I can get my arm up and start protecting my body in this situation. He's going to have a hard time trying to drive at the same time. So let's just say that the vehicle is stationary. Now, sometimes you can't move away. And again, if you can't move away from something, go towards it. So in this way, I'm going to go ahead and use the parts of the vehicle to push off of to push me up against him. All right, if you'll close your door there for a minute. In this situation, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cram him into that space so I can start hitting him. So I'm going to press him, try to do a face press, arm press, try to confine his body. I'm using my legs to push me forward and put my head against him in any way to try to confine him and then be able to fight back in whatever means necessary, any weapon or whatever. But at this point, I'm going to try to press him to where he can't come at me. Okay, we have pretty much the same situation here with now instead of being in the passenger seat, if I'm the driver, of course, if I'm driving and he starts attacking me, I have limited. If I'm still trying to keep the vehicle on the road, that's one thing, but the best thing, of course, to get the vehicle off the side of the road so you can fight back better. But of course, at this point, trying to get your seatbelt off, trying to get your arms up to try and protect yourself, getting your knees up again, trying to protect yourself the best way while you're trying to get the vehicle off the side of the road. And again, if you do get parked, of course you want to press back and come back at them, try to lessen their range on you. And of course, if you get that arm through, pulling them through into elbow strikes, arm bars. If they've grabbed a hold of your arm, if you know how to lock out, you should be able to do that. If you don't know how to do that, any type of a twisting action, at least this gets the arm back. If you see how he's kind of locked up there on his shoulder, you can start trying to apply pressure this way to be able to get you in. Okay, nice lock. So, okay, so you can definitely pull or go towards them depending on your situation. If you can get your seatbelt off, then going towards them using the vehicle to push into them is what you'd want to do. But of course, if you can't get your hips off because of your seatbelt, then your options are usually to pull them closer to you. All right, instead of just trying to punch per punch in that situation. In the awful situation that you would have someone behind you attacking you, you're going to have to be a little inventive of how to do this. Obviously, if you're controlling the vehicle at that point, you're going to need to get the vehicle off the side of the road or parked as fast as you can. The main thing, if he is trying to, obviously I'm small enough to where this headrest is going to give me a lot of protection back here from punches to the head. But if he were to come up around the seat and start striking me, all right, again, I can start trying to pull him forward so I can start striking him back. Any type of a grab on my body, I'm going to try and grab a hold of his fingers and start ripping them apart or trying to pulling them back. Okay, again, any type of weapon you might have. Another thing you might want to think about is mace, but of course you definitely want to practice with that first. Because you don't want to end up macing yourself in the process. But if you can get a hold of fingers, that's possible. But if he's punching on you, again, you cover your head, cover the back of your neck, cover your head until you can get to a point where you can fight back. Of course, like I said before, try to work on this seat belt. You do not want to be confined in this space being held down to your seat. At this point, you have a little bit more range to be able to fight back and turn your body away from it until you can get parked. Once you're parked, then you can start turning your body and striking back a lot better. But you've got to try to get your body turned their direction. You cannot fight from facing forward. Very difficult to do. All right, so let's say that he ends up trying to go for a choke on me. Okay, if he's got this choke on me, I've got to try it again to get this, I got to get air. All right, so the thing is, we're fighting in between a seat. Any of your ground fighting techniques of trying to get out of these are usually good. Again, you have your arm bars, pulling them forward. Again, he still has his choke on me, so trying to get the arms down is what I'd want to do. Any type of an arm bar I can do, grabbing into the fingers. If he's got a hold of me, I may have to try and grab a weapon and start trying to go towards his hands and so on. All right, you have limited time when you're being choked out, so you have to act fast on this. Now, if you cannot get the release of pressure, if you can't get his arms on you, on the older cars you could do this a lot better, but these seats, they can lean back into them, and that might be able to get you away from the steering wheel, which allows you then for him to keep choking you. I keep on going back, and this helps me get my body turned around in the vehicle where I can fight back. So I may have to put my feet against this dash and start turning my body to get around. And so it just kind of depends on a way of getting release. If I can get my seat back further, anything like this that allows me to be able to move my body, that's what I want to do. I did not address the possibility of having someone with a firearm. There's too many variables on that for me to really go into that in detail. You would definitely want more time. You'd want, yes, a lot more time on understanding what you could do in those situations, and there's very few actually, but it would need a different tape for that. Now, as far as if someone is outside your vehicle shooting into your vehicle, If they're shooting from the sides, bullets can definitely go through your panels of your vehicle. So if they're putting holes into your vehicle, the only thing you can do is try to drive away from that, or try to get down below, as low as you can in the vehicle, and hopefully a lot more of the armrest and all that stuff will hopefully stop those bullets from coming in. But up in this upper area, it's just going to go right through that. Go through your windows, go through the top part of your panel. You go a little bit lower, you might have a better chance of blocking that, only just because of this extra stuff down here. So if you're on the side of your vehicle and you can't get away, to get out the other side or drive away, your best bet is to get below the dashboard as low as you can. The other situation, of course, if you're in the back, or even if you're behind the vehicle and someone is shooting into it, again, getting as low in the vehicle, the better off you're going to be. All right. If you are in your vehicle and someone is standing in front of your vehicle, of course, if they're standing in front of your vehicle and you can run over them, please do so. But the thing is if someone is shooting into your vehicle, again, you need to get down below that dashboard. And the reason why it's so important on this scenario is bullets that tend to hit a windshield the lower part of the bullet will hit the windshield and then angle downward. So bullets going through a front windshield tend to then go down into the vehicle. So being below the dashboard is extremely important in that situation. I hope that these tips help you out. You'll definitely want to practice in your vehicle a couple times. If you can get a partner, that would be that'd be very important if you can. Kai helped me out in this. This is Kai Tadeo. He is a brown belt in our school and hopefully soon a black belt. And so I appreciate him being here and attacking me during this video. So thank you very much.